Today I'm going to make you a Cuban sandwich. Now believe it or not, this is a variation on a cheese and pickle sandwich made for the Cuban workers, but this is a bit special. It's got roasted ham, it's got Emmental cheese, it's got gherkins, it's got pulled pork, it's got a lovely bread, it's got a beautiful sauce on it, and it really is an enjoyable sandwich. It's a celebration. In Cuba they have competitions amongst each other on who can make the best one of these. Try our one, see if you like it. The most important part of our Cuban sandwich, or Cubana sandwich, however you want to put it, is the pulled pork. And what we've got here is round about 3 pounds of pork shoulder, and we need to marinate this. Okay, what we have to do is to score our pork, because we then put it into this bag and we pour the marinade inside it. So give it a good score. Pulled pork relies on this scoring so that all the mojo gets inside it. Once your pork is scored, the next thing we do is to get to marinate it. So we mix all the ingredients into your blender. Now it's time to mix up all your ingredients, and there's quite a few here, and it doesn't matter what kind of blender you've got, as long as it chops and blends. I happen to use the Thermomix. First thing going in is a whole head of garlic, around about 15 to 20 cloves. It's very potent. 26 grams of kosher salt, 5 grams of ground cumin. I couldn't get hold of fresh oregano, so I'm using ground oregano. I've now got a bunch of mint. How much you put in is up to you. This is a handful. Now I'm going to put in a sweet pepper and also a shallot. Here's the liquid bit that goes in, which is 240 grams of olive oil, and then also we've got 500 grams of orange and lime juice mixed together. In with the olive oil, in with the orange and the lime. This part gives it a real zesty, zingy, tangy taste. It's lime and orange rind. It's 3 limes and 2 orange. Right, the next part depends on the speed of your blender, how much power it's got, but you just turn this on until it becomes a complete liquid. Our lovely mojo sauce is done, there you are. And what I'm going to do is save a little bit of this so that I can use it later on. I can use that to spread over the bread. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of the marinade into the bag first of all, so that the bottom of the pork gets covered. I've separated the fat cap and I'll put that in the bottom, just so that it simply makes it a little bit easier later on to process. And now put in all of the pork shoulder. Bit of a squeeze, but it goes in. And now I'll pour all of the remaining marinade over this. I'm now going to squeeze some of the air out of the bag and then seal it, and then we'll put this in the fridge overnight. Okay, this has been in the fridge overnight, and I must say it looks pretty awful, but that's how it's supposed to look. It's got all the juices all really tight into the meat fibres, and we now transfer this into another pan and then we put that into the oven. What I'm going to do now is to transfer this into this heavy tin, and we then put this in the oven. Make sure you wear gloves because this is a bit messy, and be careful how you put this in. Tip the contents of this out from the bag into the pot, and it should roughly cover it about halfway over. I've cut off the fat cap because it helps it cook a bit more evenly all over on the rest of the pork, and this also adds flavour, so keep it in there. And I must say, this smells really good. It smells really minty and herby, not spicy. It's not meant to be spicy. Pulled pork is a lovely mellow flavour, and once all these juices get into it, after about 3.5 hours, it will taste amazing. Okay, I'm now going to put this into a preheated oven, not on fan, just on regular. That's now gone into the oven. It's going to stay in there for about 3.5 to 4 hours. I'll keep looking at it every now and again Initially, it's gone in there for 200 degrees Celsius, and after 10 minutes, I'll give it a stir around and I'll turn it down to 180. And I will keep going back to the pot, turning it over, make sure it's not drying out, and then we'll see what it's like when I've done it. First thing I'm going to do now, taking it out of the oven, is to get rid of some of these fatty bits that have fell off, because I'm going to drain this so that I can save some of the gravy. What I'm doing now is straining all the oil and the fats off through into this container, and be careful because there's a lot of it. Right, I would strongly advise that you buy yourself one of these oil separators. You can see all the oil is sitting on top of the goodness, and what we do is separate that and mix it later on. Now what you can see me doing is pouring this into another gravy jug, and the oil is sitting on top, and the goodness and all these lovely gloopy bits are going into the gravy jug with very, very little oil with it. Right, I've separated the gravy and the oil, and that's what we're left with, and we've also got all this lovely goodness from the bottom of the pan. I'm now going to separate this with a couple of forks, and that pulls apart really easy, and all you do is just get your forks and just shred it apart. Now it's time to put all our dish together. Now remember, this is a celebration. It's just not an ordinary sandwich. This is a Cuban sandwich, and you'll love it. All right, this is a great thing for barbecues. Give this to somebody, they'll come back time and time again. You won't be able to keep them away. Now what I'm using is a shop bought bread. The purists will want you to make a proper Cuban bread. I simply didn't have time, but I bought a really good quality ciabatta. You can use this or you can use French bread, whatever your preference is, as long as it's good quality. The first thing you want to do is fry off some ham. Good quality ham, and this is just an ordinary honey roasted ham. All you need to do with this is just cook it off on both sides so it gets a nice bit of colour on it, and then keep it to one side ready for building your sandwich. Right, it's build the sandwich time. Cut the end off of the bread, and this is going to be a good generous portion because Jack's hungry. What a surprise. And we'll cut this in half, and we'll cut our bread in half, and there is the beginning of our sandwich. What I'm putting on here is the marinade that we initially put over the pork, and we just put this over the sandwich and just spread that about there. Next part of our mega sandwich is to put on some gherkins. Here we go. Next part of the process we're going for here is to put on our lovely ham. Put on our lovely pulled pork, a good generous amount. You're going to enjoy this sandwich, so layer it up. Look at that lovely aromatic pork. Here we go, look at that. We've got the bread, we've got the gherkin, we've got the ham, we've got the pork, and we've not even finished with it. We've still got the cheese to come. This is going to be mega. Right, we're now going on with some Emmental cheese, the one with all the holes in it. All chefs have a very small blowtorch. Well, I've got a big one, all right? And this is going to melt the cheese. Here we go. Okay, right, just when you thought it was all over, here comes the next surprise. Assemble your sandwich together and then get yourself some butter and spread it all over the top and the bottom of the sandwich. Gets a little bit messy, but this is where it gets creative. And both sides. And then also what you do is you get yourself a hot pan and put it on top of it. That side's done. Take your hot pan off, get yourself a slice and turn this over. Whoa! Can't wait for this one. There we are. Okay, here we are. Our lovely, lovely sandwich. And listen to that.
Nice.
Right, there we are. There's your celebration Cuban sandwich. This really is something else. And in a moment, I'm going to get Jack to taste it. Okay, the Cuban sandwich is made, and let's see if Jack likes it.
Let's have a go. So we've got lovely pulled pork and the pickles and the nice bread.
And I can hear it crunching from here. Don't know if you can on camera.
And we're back. I had to take a quick break there because I couldn't breathe as I inhaled so much of that sandwich.
Really?
Now, I'm a massive fan of Cuban sandwiches. I used to work at a place in Shepherd's Bush and there was a Cuban cafe around the corner, and I discovered these there, and I used to have them near enough every single day. And that is as close to it as I've ever had. I've not been fortunate enough to go to Cuba and have one myself, but I love this sandwich. So Dad and I decided we were going to have a go and make one, and we've done a really good job.
Yeah.
I really feel that, you know, marinating that pork, putting all that love into it, and making sure you've got the time to actually, you know, blend all those ingredients together and make that lovely pulled pork makes a world of difference because it is so juicy, super juicy.
If you haven't got the time to make the bread and do the pulled pork, go to the supermarket, buy the bread, buy the pulled pork, and it's a pretty quick sandwich to make, but it tastes a bit special.
That's it. If you put the care into it, it will go further. I mean, we understand that we work, everybody's got busy lives, we created this YouTube channel around our lives, and sometimes you just have to cut a corner. It's still lovely, and it is definitely on my top 10, and I definitely recommend you guys make it.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed us making it, and watch out for another video next week. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.